The evening sun burned low over Lagos, throwing long orange streaks over the dusty roads and noisy streets. The air was thick with the smell of roasted corn, exhaust fumes, and sweat, the signature perfume of the city. Cars honked impatiently, Okadas swerved dangerously between them, and traders shouted over each other to sell their wares. In the middle of it all, a woman stumbled barefoot across the road, dazed and confused, her hair matted, her once expensive clothes torn and smeared with dirt. Her name, though she did not remember it then, was Adana Ease. Only hours before, she had been one of the most powerful businesswomen in Lagos. She was the CEO of a luxury real estate firm, driving a black Range Rover, living in a mansion in Lekki Phase 1, surrounded by marble floors, Italian chandeliers, and servants who bowed when she spoke. But now, her mind was a fog. A terrible car accident had wiped her memory clean. All she knew was pain, confusion, and the strange voices echoing in her head. "Madam! Madam, a beg no stand for road o. You wan die!" shouted a young Okada rider, swerving just in time to avoid her. She blinked, eyes wide and unfocused. Where am I?" she mumbled. The rider hissed, shook his head, and sped off. People stared, some laughed, some pitied. Lagos was a city where madness wasn't rare, and no one had the time to care. As night fell, she collapsed by the roadside, her head resting on a pile of old cardboard. The streetlights flickered. She shivered, whispering to no one, "Who am I?" That was when Mama Ibeji found her. Mama Ibeji was a small, stout woman in her late 40s, with skin as dark and glowing as polished wood. She sold fried plantain and akara by the roadside, her hands always busy, her eyes sharp with both kindness and suspicion, the look of a woman who had seen too much but still had love left to give. When she saw Adana lying there, she felt something stir in her heart. On, fine woman like this. God, wetin happened to am? Mama Ibeji muttered. She bent down, touched Adana's forehead. It was hot. "Na fever," she said to herself. "This one no be mad woman. If it be say she don suffer accident." Without thinking twice, Mama Ibeji called her teenage son, Chike, to help. "Chike, come carry this woman make we go house. Quick." Chike came running, tall and thin with curious eyes. "Mama, who she be? I no know. But she no fit sleep here. Help me lift am." Together, they carried Adana to their one-room apartment in Mushin, a crowded, noisy, chaotic neighborhood filled with life, struggle, and the sound of generators. Their home was simple: a mattress on the floor, a kerosene stove, a small wooden table, and pictures of Jesus and family pinned to the wall. For 3 days, Adana slept, feverish, sweating, murmuring fragments of forgotten words. "Daniel, my company, don't leave me." Mama Ibeji took care of her like she was her own daughter, sponging her forehead, feeding her pap with a spoon, praying over her softly at night. "God, whoever this woman be, restore her mind. You know say we poor, but we get love. Make she find peace here." When Adana finally opened her eyes on the 4th morning, sunlight streamed through the cracked window. She saw Chike sitting by her side, eating gari soaked with groundnuts. Where am I?" she whispered. Chike looked up, smiling shyly. "You day Mama Ibeji house. Now my mama carry you from road. You sick small, but you go day all right." Her lips trembled. I don't remember anything." Mama Ibeji entered, holding a bowl of hot yam porridge. "You don wake. Thank God oh. How you day feel?" Adana frowned. "I don't know. I can't even remember my name." Mama Ibeji sighed, sat beside her. "No worry my Pekin. Name go come when God say e go come. For now you go rest. We go call you Ngozi, e mean blessing. Nah, so we go take call you till you remember who you be." And that was how Adana, the wealthy CEO, became Ngozi, the nameless woman taken in by a poor family. Days turned into weeks. Ngozi started helping around the house, cleaning, washing, even joining Mama Ibeji at her fried plantain stand. She learned to haggle with customers, to smile at strangers, and to laugh again. Though she still couldn't remember her past, her heart began to heal in this little world of simplicity and love. Chike liked to tease her. "Ngozi, you sabi fry plantain now oh. See as fine, golden like sunshine." She'd laugh, flicking a bit of oil at him. "Now you teach me well, teacher Chike." The bond between them grew strong, not romantic at first, but something purer. She saw in him the brother she never knew she had. And Mama Ibeji, though poor, treated her like blood. Sometimes at night, Ngozi would sit outside, staring at the moon. "Why do I feel like I'm missing something?" she'd whisper. Mama Ibeji would sit beside her, her wrapper tied tightly around her chest. "My daughter, sometimes God take memory so that he go heal your heart before you remember pain. When time reach, you go no wetin you suppose no." But the streets had eyes, and Lagos was small. One afternoon, as Ngozi helped Chike fetch water from the public tap, a black SUV drove slowly past. Inside sat Daniel Ease, Adana's husband. His eyes caught a glimpse of her, the same face he'd thought he'd buried after the accident 2 years ago. He gasped, "Adana." The driver looked confused. "Oga, you say something?" Daniel blinked, shaking his head. "No, drive on." But his heart was racing. Could it be his wife, alive? After the accident, her body was never found. Everyone assumed she had fallen into the lagoon. He had mourned her, but not for long. He had remarried, taking her business partner, Cynthia, as his new wife. Together, they controlled the company Adana once built with her sweat. But seeing that face again stirred something inside him: guilt, fear, and greed. That night, rain poured heavily. Ngozi sat by the window, watching lightning streak across the sky. "Mama," she said softly, "sometimes I dream of water and a car. I hear someone calling my name, Adana. Does that mean something?" Mama Ibeji paused, her eyes thoughtful. Maybe your spirit day remember small. Don't force am. If na your name, God go show you." Ngozi smiled faintly. "Even if I never remember, I'm happy here. You and Chike. You gave me life when I had nothing." Mama Ibeji placed her hand on her shoulder. "Na love we get, no money. But love day heal pass medicine." Meanwhile, Daniel couldn't rest. The image of that woman haunted him. The next day, he sent one of his men to Mushin to investigate quietly. Find out about one woman they call Ngozi, selling plantain near Ojuwoi market. "Bring me everything." 2 days later, the report came. "Oga, e be like say you correct. The woman resemble your late wife well. But people say she no remember anything. She dey live with one woman way dem call Mama Ibeji and her son." Daniel leaned back in his chair, eyes dark. "So she's alive, but doesn't remember." A slow smile crept across his face. "Interesting." Cynthia walked in, her jewelry glinting. "What are you smiling about?" He quickly masked his expression. "Nothing, my dear. Just business." But in his mind, a dangerous thought had taken root. If Adana regained her memory, she could reclaim her company, and expose the lies that had made him and Cynthia rich. 1 week later, Daniel arrived in Mushin disguised in plain clothes. He watched from afar as Ngozi laughed with children, helping Mama Ibeji pack up her goods. Her laughter was genuine, something he hadn't seen in her before. For a moment, guilt touched him. Then greed crushed it. He approached slowly, pretending to be a customer. "Good afternoon, madam," he said, forcing a smile. Ngozi turned, polite as always. "Good afternoon, sir. You go buy plantain." He stared into her eyes, the same brown eyes that once looked at him with love. "Yes," he whispered, "I'll buy." As she wrapped the plantain in newspaper, he studied her face closely. She didn't recognize him. "You live around here?" he asked casually. She nodded. "Yes, with my mama. I mean, Mama Ibeji." He forced a smile. "You look familiar." She laughed softly. "People dey always tell me that." He paid and walked away, his mind spinning. She truly doesn't remember. That night, he called Cynthia. "She's alive." "What?" "She's alive but doesn't remember anything. If she ever regains it, we're finished." Cynthia's voice shook. "Then we make sure she never does." Days later, a man claiming to be a charity volunteer visited Mama Ibeji's stand. He was one of Daniel's men. "Madam," he said warmly, "we are looking for people to help, maybe sponsor small business, give better housing. I see how you day struggle here." Mama Ibeji's eyes widened. "Ah, God bless you, my Pekin." He smiled, scanning the area. "And this your helper, Ngozi, she fit benefit too. We can help her get small training work." Mama Ibeji looked pleased, but Ngozi's instincts told her something was wrong. "We are fine, sir. God day bless us small." The man nodded but left with a strange look. That night, Ngozi told Mama Ibeji, "Mama, something about that man no pure. His eyes day look like person way day hide something." Mama Ibeji chuckled. "Ngozi, you day fear too much. Not everyone bad." Ngozi forced a smile, but deep down, she felt a shadow looming. 2 months passed. Life continued in its humble rhythm, laughter, struggle, survival. But fate was restless. One evening, as Ngozi walked home from the market, a car screeched beside her. 2 men jumped out, covered her mouth, and dragged her inside. "MMPH. Let me go!" she screamed, kicking. But it was useless. When she woke up, she was in a large house, cold marble floors, the faint scent of luxury perfume, and expensive curtains. Something about it felt familiar. Then Daniel walked in. She stared at him, confusion flooding her face. Who are you?" He smiled gently, pretending to care. "Adana, it's me. Your husband." Her eyes widened. "My husband?" "Yes. You had an accident. You lost your memory. But I found you, thank God." She blinked, trying to make sense of his words. Fragments flickered in her mind, a car, a scream, water. Her head throbbed. I don't understand." Daniel took her hand softly. "You don't have to. Just rest. Everything will be fine." But as he hugged her, she could feel his body tense, not from love, but fear. At that moment, somewhere in Mushin, Mama Ibeji sat by her stall, eyes full of tears. Ngozi hadn't come home for 3 days. Chaik tried to comfort her. "Mama, maybe she travels small." Mama Ibeji shook her head slowly. "My spirit no rest. Something dawn happened to my daughter." The sun rose over Lekki, painting the sky in gold and pink. But inside Daniel's mansion, the air was thick with silence and lies. Adana, still called Ngozi in her heart, sat on the edge of a large bed she did not recognize. The sheets were silk, the perfume in the room foreign. Her head throbbed each time she tried to remember. The face of Mama Ibeji flashed before her eyes, and her chest ached with longing. "Where are they? Do they know I'm gone?" she thought. Daniel entered the room, dressed sharply in a tailored suit. His smile was warm but empty. "Good morning, Adana," he said, handing her a glass of juice. She hesitated. "You keep calling me that. Are you sure that's my name?" He nodded. "Yes. You are Adana Ease, my wife. We were married for 6 years before the accident." He sat beside her, pretending to be tender. "You hit your head. You forgot many things. But now that you're home, everything will come back." She studied his face. "Home," she whispered. "Why doesn't it feel like home?" Daniel smiled tightly. "Because you've been away too long. Just give it time." He stood up. "I'll be at the office. Cynthia will stay with you. She's your close friend." When he left, the door opened again, and Cynthia walked in, beautiful, elegant, but with eyes sharp as blades. She smiled coldly. "Adana, welcome back." Adana blinked. "Do I know you?" Cynthia's lips curved. "Oh yes, very well. We've shared a lot, even Daniel." Something in the tone sent a shiver through Adana's body. "Please," she whispered. "I don't remember anything." Cynthia stepped closer. "Good. Keep it that way." Meanwhile, in Mushin, Mama Ibeji had not slept in days. She sat by her window every night, staring at the road, waiting for Ngozi. "Chaik, I tell you say this no be normal. My spirit day shout say she no fine," she said one morning, her eyes red and swollen. Chaik placed a hand on her shoulder. "Mama, calm down. We go find am. I go station today. Maybe person report am. He walked through the crowded streets, stopping at police posts, describing Ngozi's face. But no one had seen her. People disappear for this Lagos every day, one tired officer said, chewing gum. We go call you if we see anything. Chaik walked back home, anger and fear twisting in his chest. She no fit just vanish like that, he thought. She be family. Back in Lekki, Adana's life had become a golden cage. She wore silk dresses and diamond earrings but felt emptier with each passing day. The servants called her Madam, but she saw the way they whispered behind her back. Cynthia stayed close, pretending to help her regain her memory. One afternoon, she brought out an album of photos, Adana in expensive gowns, at business meetings, at parties beside Daniel. See, Cynthia said sweetly, this was you. Powerful, beautiful, rich. Adana touched one picture, herself smiling, confident. I look happy. Cynthia's smile tightened. You were. Until the accident. Adana frowned. What happened? Cynthia hesitated, pretending to be sorrowful. You were driving late that night. Daniel begged you not to go. But you were angry. You crashed your car near 3rd Mainland Bridge. You fell into the water. Everyone thought you died. Tears welled up in Adana's eyes. So, that's how I lost my memory. Yes, Cynthia said, leaning closer. You should be grateful Daniel took you back. Some men would have moved on. Her words stung. Moved on. Why did that sound off? That night, Adana wandered through the house, looking at the portraits on the wall. There she was, standing proudly beside Daniel. But beside him, in the most recent ones, was Cynthia. She frowned. Why is she in all these pictures? She stepped into Daniel's office. Papers covered his desk, contracts, company documents. One folder caught her eye. Ease Properties Limited, Ownership Transfer Agreement. Her name was on it, but the signature wasn't hers. Her heart pounded. This isn't my handwriting. Suddenly, Daniel's voice came from behind her. What are you doing here? She turned, startled. I was just looking. He stepped closer, taking the paper from her hand. You shouldn't be poking around. It's dangerous to stress your mind too early. She stared into his eyes. You forged my name, didn't you? His expression hardened. Go to sleep, Adana. You're confused. He walked out, slamming the door behind him. Adana sank into a chair, trembling. For the first time, anger burned in her, faint but growing. Something deep within whispered, they stole your life. In Mushin, Chaik had started asking questions in the market. One old woman whispered, I see one big car stop for here that day. Some men carry woman way resemble Ngozi. No be ordinary matter. Chaik's heart sank. You sure? The woman nodded. Sure pass sure. He ran home. Mama, I think na rich people carry her. Mama Ibeji clutched her chest. Jesus, wetin dem go want with poor girl like her? Chaik's eyes darkened. She no be poor, Mama. Maybe she get past way she never talk. Mama Ibeji sat down slowly, her spirit heavy. Whatever e be, we must find her. Even if we go Lekki. Weeks passed. Adana's memory began to flicker. Flashes of a boardroom, of betrayal, of an argument with Daniel and Cynthia on the night of the crash. She saw herself shouting, You both betrayed me. Then headlights, screeching tires, darkness. She woke up gasping. When she confronted Daniel the next morning, her voice trembled. I remember the accident. We were fighting. He froze. No. You're mistaken. I said you betrayed me. You and Cynthia. What did you do to me? Daniel forced a smile. Adana, listen to yourself. You're unwell. Let's call the doctor. She backed away. Don't touch me. That night, Daniel locked her room from the outside. You're staying here until you calm down, he said coldly. Adana sat in the darkness, tears streaming down her face. God, what have I done to deserve this? But even in her pain, she remembered Mama Ibeji's words, Love day heal pass medicine. She whispered into the night, Mama! Chike, please find me. In Mushin, Chike sold his only phone to pay for transport. Mama, I day go lecky. If I no come back, no cry. Mama Ibeji grabbed his hand. God go with you. Bring our daughter home. He traveled hours under the scorching sun, asking people along the way. At a security gate, he lied to gain entry into one of the estates. I day find my cousin. She name na Adana. The guard laughed. You mean Madam Ease? She no get cousin from Mushin. Chike's eyes widened. So she really be rich woman. He hid near the back gate until nightfall. When the compound lights dimmed, he sneaked close and saw her, Adana, standing by a balcony, looking lost. He whispered her name softly. Ngozi. She turned sharply. For a moment, disbelief filled her face. Chike. He nodded. Nami. Thank God I find you. Tears welled up in her eyes. They said my name is Adana. They said I was dead. He shook his head. Forget wetin dem say. Mama donde worry die. We think say dem kill you. Chike, they locked me here. They lied. They took everything from me, she whispered. Chike clenched his fists. No worry. I go help you escape. He returned 2 nights later with a plan. When I whistle, jump fence for back. I get Kiki way go carry us. But Cynthia overheard their whisper from the corridor. Her eyes turned cold. The night came. Rain poured heavily again, thunder cracking above the mansion. Chike whistled softly. Adana grabbed a shawl, heart pounding, and ran toward the back gate. But as she climbed the fence, headlights flashed. Security guards surrounded her. Cynthia stepped forward under an umbrella, smiling wickedly. Running away so soon, she said. Adana froze. You won't stop me. Cynthia laughed. You think you can leave, after everything we've built with your money? Chike tried to fight a guard but was shoved to the ground. Leave her alone, he shouted. Cynthia nodded to one of the men. Teach him a lesson. The guard struck Chike with a baton. He fell, blood trickling from his forehead. Adana screamed. Stop. Don't hurt him. Daniel appeared, his face twisted. What's going on? Cynthia sneered. Your wife tried to run. And this boy, her little savior from the slums. Daniel's eyes flickered between guilt and fear. Take him away, he ordered. Adana's heart shattered. No. Please. She was dragged back inside as Chike was thrown into the rain. That night, locked once again in her room, Adana fell to her knees. God, I've lost everything. My company, my freedom, even my family. Then, faintly, something shifted in her mind, a memory of Mama Ibeji's voice saying, When time reach, you go no wetin you suppose no. Her tears stopped. She whispered, Now I know. They stole my life. But I will take it back. At dawn, Chike crawled to the roadside, weak but alive. A taxi driver helped him back to Mushin. When Mama Ibeji saw his wounds, she screamed. Jesus! Wetin happen? Mama, he gasped. They hold her hostage. The man, her husband, and that woman. They be wicked. Mama Ibeji's eyes filled with righteous fury. Dem go pay. No matter how rich dem be, truth go come out. She went to the local pastor, a man known for helping people in trouble. He listened, nodding. We go use wisdom. God day fight for the innocent. Back in Lekki, Adana began pretending, acting calm, obedient, quiet. But inside, her mind was clear and sharp. Every night, she wrote notes, planning her escape. She memorized the layout of the house, the guard schedule, the location of Daniel's office. Then one night, when the power went out briefly, she acted. She crept into Daniel's office, opened his safe using the code she suddenly remembered, her birthday. Inside, she found the original documents of her company, a USB drive, and bank details. She stuffed them into a small bag, her hands trembling. Just as she turned to leave, she saw something that made her freeze, a framed picture of her company's launch event, where she stood beside Daniel and Cynthia, and behind them, the same car that crashed that night. She remembered it all, the shouting, the betrayal, Daniel's hands on the wheel, Cynthia screaming, "Finish her before she finishes us!" Her breath caught. They tried to kill me. The realization struck like lightning. "No wonder they said I fell into the water," she whispered. "They threw me there." Anger turned to fire in her veins. She whispered, "I'm coming for you both." She crept out through the kitchen door and ran into the night. The dawn that followed was gray and heavy with mist. The streets of Lagos had barely awakened when Adana stepped out of the shadows, barefoot, soaked, and trembling, but this time not from fear. From the moment her feet touched the wet asphalt, she whispered to herself, "I remember everything." Her memory was back, the laughter, the betrayal, the crash, the cold water swallowing her as she screamed for help. She had been left for dead by the two people she trusted most. But she had survived, saved by strangers who gave her love without wanting anything in return. Now, those strangers were her real family. And she was going to protect them, no matter the cost. By mid-morning, Adana had reached the outskirts of Surulere. Her hair was disheveled, her clothes muddy, but her spirit burned like fire. She walked into a roadside kiosk, asking quietly, "Please, do you know where Mushin is?" The woman selling bread looked at her with concern. "Ah, madam, you go trek small o. Not 2 bus from here." Adana smiled faintly. "No problem. I've walked through worse." When she finally arrived at the familiar narrow street where Mama Ibeji lived, her knees gave way. She saw the peeling walls, the plastic chairs, the small akara stand, and it felt like coming home. Mama Ibeji was outside, sifting beans for akara, when she saw the figure approaching. Her eyes widened, hands trembling. "Jesus! Ngozi!" Adana fell to her knees, tears flooding her eyes. "Mama, it's me." Mama Ibeji dropped the bowl and rushed forward, wrapping her arms around her tightly. "My daughter! I think say you die oh. My spirit no lie. I say you go come back." Chike ran out from inside, limping slightly but smiling through tears. "Ngozi!" She turned and hugged him fiercely. "You saved my life again, Chike." He grinned. "Na God save you, not me." For a long moment, they just held each other. Poor and rich no longer mattered. They were family. Inside the tiny house, Adana told them everything. How Daniel and Cynthia betrayed her, how they took her company, and how they tried to kill her. Mama Ibeji's face darkened. "Evil no get limit for this world. But you go fight, my daughter. You go take back wetin dem steal." Chike clenched his fists. "We go expose them. We go show people who dem really be." Adana smiled sadly. "Yes, but we must be careful. They have money, connections, power. We only have truth and love." Mama Ibeji nodded slowly. "But truth day strong pass gold." The next day, Adana cleaned herself up. She borrowed one of Mama Ibeji's colorful ankara wrappers and tied it neatly, her natural beauty glowing despite the scars. They went to the small church where Pastor Emmanuel led morning prayers. After the service, she approached him. "Pastor, I need your help. I want to tell the world what happened, but I need proof." The pastor, a calm man with wise eyes, listened carefully. "My daughter, God no sleep. We go use wisdom. I know one journalist, good man, no fear big names. He fit help." By evening, they sat in a small radio station office, Voice of the People FM. The journalist, Mr. Kalu, leaned forward, eyes wide as he listened to her story. "You mean to tell me your husband and your business partner plotted your death?" Adana nodded. "Yes, and I have proof." She handed him the USB drive she'd taken from Daniel's safe. "All the financial records are there. Transfers, fake contracts, forged signatures, everything." Kalu's eyes widened. "If this is true, the whole city goes shake." Adana said softly, "Let it shake. They've lived in comfort while I lived as a ghost." Meanwhile, in Lekki, Daniel's temper was beginning to unravel. He hadn't slept in days. "Find her!" he barked at his security chief. "Check hospitals, streets, anywhere." Cynthia sipped her wine calmly. "Relax. She won't survive long out there. She's weak, lost, confused." But deep down, fear gnawed at her. What if Adana remembers everything? That night, she dreamed of fire, and Adana's voice saying, "You will pay for what you did." She woke up screaming. 3 days later, the radio station aired the story. In a shocking revelation, Voice of the People FM brings you the story of Adana Ease, founder of Ease Properties Limited, who was declared dead 2 years ago. Evidence suggests foul play involving her husband, Daniel Ease, and business associate, Cynthia Okoro. The news spread like wildfire. Lagos buzzed. On social media, photos of Adana resurfaced, alongside rumors of greed, betrayal, and attempted murder. At Ease Properties headquarters, journalists camped outside the gate. Daniel's face turned pale as he watched the news anchor say, "Our reporters confirm that Mrs. Ease is alive, and she has returned to Lagos." Cynthia's glass shattered in her hand. "Impossible." Daniel grabbed his car keys. "We're finished if she goes to the police." That same evening, Adana stood in front of a mirror in Mama Ibeji's home, staring at herself, the once powerful CEO now reborn in simplicity. Chike entered quietly. "You look like Queen." She smiled. "I used to think being rich made me powerful. Now I know love and truth make me stronger." Chike lowered his gaze. "I wish you no go back to that world, Ngozi. You fit stay here, start new life." She touched his shoulder gently. "My fight no be only for me. It's for every poor person they trampled. For Mama. For you." He nodded, understanding. "Then we go fight with you." The next morning, 2 black SUVs stopped outside Mama Ibeji's house. Men in suits came out, scanning the street. One of them shouted, "Where is she?" Mama Ibeji peeped through the curtain, whispering, "Dem don come." Adana stood firm. "No fear, Mama. Today, truth go walk into light." She walked out calmly. The men surrounded her. "Madam, Oga Daniel wants see you," one said roughly. She raised her chin. "Then he can come here. I'm not hiding." A familiar deep voice came from the car. "Adana, get in. Let's talk." She turned. Daniel sat inside, looking older, desperate. "Please," he said quietly. "I didn't mean for things to go this far." Adana stepped closer. "You left me to die." "I panicked," he said, sweating. "It was Cynthia. She pushed you." "Liar," she snapped. "You both wanted me gone because I discovered your fraud." Cynthia suddenly appeared from the second car, her voice cold. "You should have stayed dead." Mama Ibeji shouted from the doorway, "God punish you, witch." Cynthia sneered. "Old woman, stay out of this." Adana's voice rose, strong and clear. "You can threaten me all you want, but Lagos already knows the truth. The whole world does." Police sirens wailed in the distance. Daniel turned pale. "What have you done?" Adana smiled faintly. "Justice." As police vehicles pulled up, officers jumped out. Inspector Femi approached. "Mrs. Adana Ease." She nodded. He turned to Daniel and Cynthia. "You are both under arrest for attempted murder, fraud, and conspiracy." Cynthia screamed. "You can't prove anything." The inspector lifted the USB drive. "We can." Daniel collapsed against the car, defeated. "Adana, please, forgive me." She looked at him, tears glistening in her eyes. "I forgave you long ago, but you still have to face what you did." When the police cars drove off, the street erupted in cheers. Neighbors came out, celebrating. Mama Ibeji cried openly, hugging Adana. "My daughter, you fight like lioness." Adana smiled. "No, Mama. I fought like a woman who finally remembered who she is." A week later, the story made national headlines. Newspapers carried her photo, the woman who came back from the dead to seek justice. Calls poured in from across the country. People praised her courage. Investors begged her to return to business. But Adana didn't rush back into luxury. She stayed in Mushin a while longer, living simply, helping Mama Ibeji expand her Acura stand into a small food kiosk. One morning, she told Chike, "I will rebuild my company, but differently this time. It will create homes for people like us. No more marble palaces for the rich. Real homes for the poor." Chike's smile stretched wide. You go call what name? She looked up at the sky. Ngozi Foundation. Because the blessing God gave me was love. 2 months later, at the launch event of the foundation, cameras flashed as Adana stood on stage beside Mama Ibeji and Chike. The audience included journalists, activists, and even the governor. 2 years ago, Adana said into the microphone, I lost my memory, but I gained a family. When I was rich, I had everything but love. When I was poor, I had nothing but love. And that love saved me. So this foundation is not built on wealth, it is built on gratitude. The crowd applauded loudly. Mama Ibeji cried tears of joy. As Adana looked at them, she whispered to herself, Now I am home. That night, as fireworks lit up the Lagos skyline, she sat quietly outside with Mama Ibeji and Chike, sharing roasted corn and laughter. Mama Ibeji teased, You done rich again, my daughter. Hope you no go forget us this time, oh. Adana laughed. If I ever forget again, remind me that love is my true memory. They all laughed. But deep down, she knew this was just the beginning, of a new life, a new purpose, and a new kind of wealth that no betrayal could steal. 2 years after her return to the city, Amara had built a life most would envy. She was once again managing her family's estate, heading charity foundations, and was featured in magazines as the woman who came back stronger. Yet, even amid the glamour, her heart often drifted to that small clay house in Succa, to Mama Nkem's laughter, Chika's quiet wisdom, Ngozi's warm meals, and the echoes of her forgotten years of love and simplicity. Each night, she would hold the little wooden carving Chika had made, a heart with her name roughly carved on one side and his on the other. It was her compass, her reminder that love could bloom even in the dust of poverty. But guilt haunted her. The guilt of leaving them behind, of never truly thanking them for saving her life when everyone else turned away. So one early morning, she packed a small bag, wore a simple wrapper, tied her hair with a scarf, and told her driver to take her to Nsukka. She didn't want attention. She wanted peace. She wanted forgiveness. The road was long and bumpy, but her heart raced with every mile. The trees leaned inward as if whispering the secrets of her past. When she arrived, she stepped out and inhaled the familiar scent of red soil and wood smoke. The village hadn't changed much. The air was thick with life, children chasing chickens, women pounding yam, men fixing old bicycles by the roadside. But as she walked toward the small mud house she once called home, her steps slowed. The walls were cracked, the roof sagged, and the compound was eerily quiet. Her heart dropped. She rushed forward, calling, Mama Nkem, Chika, Ngozi. No one answered. Only the wind sighed through the banana leaves. She found an old woman sitting by the neighboring hut, wrinkled, her eyes cloudy but kind. Good afternoon, Mama, Amara greeted softly. Please. I'm looking for Mama Nkem and her children. The woman looked at her for a long moment, then sighed heavily. Ah, you must be Amara. Amara's breath caught. You remember me? The old woman nodded. Who in this village could forget the beautiful stranger who forgot her own name but filled this place with laughter? Her voice trembled. My daughter, you came too late. Mama Nkem passed away last year. She waited for you till her last breath. Every evening, she'd sit by that mango tree and tell stories of her daughter from the city who forgot the world but remembered kindness. Tears poured down Amara's cheeks as her knees weakened. No, Mama Nkem can't be gone. The old woman reached for her hand. Life takes who it must, my child. She died peacefully. As for Ngozi, she married a teacher from Enugu and moved away. And Chika, she paused. He left for the city after Mama's burial. He said he'd find you, even if it took him his whole life. Amara pressed her palms against her face, trembling. The pain cut deeper than she imagined. All the wealth, the houses, the recognition, none of it mattered now. She had lost the people who gave her a second life. She spent the next few days repairing their old home, painting the walls, planting flowers near the doorstep, and building a small gravestone for Mama Nkem. On it, she engraved, Here lies Mama Nkem, mother to all, heart of gold, light of my lost days. Villagers came to watch quietly. Some whispered that the rich woman had returned to honor the poor who saved her. Others simply wept. One evening, as the sun melted into a golden horizon, Amara sat by the mango tree with a bowl of soup she had made herself, the same one Mom and Kem used to cook. She ate slowly, tears mixing with her laughter. Then, suddenly, she heard footsteps behind her. A man's voice, deep but trembling. "I thought I'd never see you again." Amara froze. She turned around, and there he was, Chica. Older, stronger, wearing a faded shirt and carrying a small bag over his shoulder. His eyes widened as he saw her. For a moment, neither spoke. The years between them hung heavy in the air. Amara rose slowly, her voice breaking. "Chica!" He smiled sadly. "You remember me now." "I never forgot you," she whispered, tears streaming freely. "Even when I couldn't remember myself." He dropped the bag and walked closer. "I went to the city after Mama's death. I looked for you everywhere. I even stood outside your father's company once, but when I saw the guards, the cars, I knew I didn't belong there." She shook her head. "You belong with me, Chica. You always have." He looked down, his voice low. "Amara, your world and mine, they are different. You were born with gold around your neck. I was born with dust under my nails." She stepped forward, gently taking his hand. "Gold fades. Dust remains. It reminds us where we came from." He looked into her eyes, and for the first time in years, he saw not the city woman with wealth and class, but the same woman who once laughed under the rain, who cooked on a wooden stove, who loved his family like her own. They stood there in silence, the wind rustling through the trees. Then Amara whispered, "Come home with me. Let's build something together. In the city, in the village, wherever you want. You saved me once, Chica. Let me save us now." Chica hesitated, his eyes glistening. "You don't owe me anything, Amara." "I owe you everything," she said softly. "You showed me love when I had nothing, not even my name. When the world turned its back, you opened your door. You and Mom and Kem taught me what family truly means. I'll never forget that." He swallowed hard. "And what about your people? Your father's empire? They'll learn what love looks like. Maybe they'll even learn from you." For the first time, Chica laughed, a deep, heartfelt laugh that echoed through the evening air. The kind of laugh that heals. That night, the villagers gathered under the moonlight as Amara threw a small feast in Mom and Kem's memory. They danced, shared stories, and sang old songs. Amara and Chica sat side by side, hands intertwined, smiling through their tears. Later, as the music faded and the fire crackled low, Amara whispered, "Do you ever think Mom and Kem can see us now?" Chica nodded slowly. "She can. And she's probably smiling, saying, 'See? Even memory can't erase what's meant to be.'" Amara smiled faintly, closing her eyes as the firelight flickered on their faces. "Then let's make her proud. Let's love the way she taught us, with open hearts, not open pockets." Years passed. Amara sold most of her father's estates and turned them into foundations that built homes, schools, and hospitals in rural communities. She and Chica built a home together, part brick, part clay, blending city and village. They named it Yulo Nke Eziokwu, the House of Truth. And every year, on the anniversary of Mom and Kem's passing, the villagers would gather there to celebrate her life. They would cook, sing, and tell stories about the woman who lost her memory and found love, and the poor family who reminded her who she truly was. In time, Amara became a legend not because of her wealth, but because of her heart. Mothers told their daughters her story by firelight. How a woman once fell into the hands of the poor and discovered the richest thing of all, love that never asks for anything in return. And though Chica and Amara grew old, they were never apart. Their story became a living memory, the kind that never fades, the kind Mom and Kem would have called Ndu, life that continues beyond the grave. One sunset, long after the world had quieted, Amara stood by Mom and Kem's grave, her hair silver and her hands trembling with age. She whispered softly, "Mama, I finally came home." The wind brushed her cheek like a mother's caress, and somewhere deep in her heart, she heard a voice say, "Welcome back, my daughter." She smiled, eyes closed, as the golden light bathed the land. And the story of love, loss, and rediscovery lived on, not in books or headlines, but in the hearts of those who still believe that the poorest homes can hold the richest love.